So I've had having way too much fun with AI. If you guys haven't noticed,
Roll nice.
That was good. I actually like that.
I was like,
Yeah.
I literally was like, I want to see if I could do something funny. I'm gonna try to do more intros like that because I find it entertaining. But so tonight,
Just brings more
ladies and
people
gentlemen,
into it.
we are gonna talk about something that's near and dear to my heart because as much as I make it look like I know what I'm talking about when I'm doing my videos, it's all been a learning curve. And all of this stuff, half of it is mistake in the making, and I wanted to help prevent some people from making the same mistakes that we make. So we're going to talk about mistakes that anglers make, whether it be techniques, baits, just things that they do that we can save you a little pain and suffering going forward. So we're going to start with, we'll do Chris first. I'll put him right on the spot. What's the biggest thing that you think new anglers make the mistake of doing right off the bat?
I think the first thing that they make a big mistake is buying too many lures, too much tackle.
Yep.
Keep it simple. You know, if you've done it a few times, stick with the things you know.
Yep.
Go there, learn the water first. You know, you got to learn where the fish are, how the fish are behaving. That to me is the number one thing. You know, you're buying, you know, all of us have 10 plus rods on a kayak when we go out. You know, you don't need 10 rods to start with. You know, you really, in my opinion, you got 2, maybe 3.
Yep.
You know, and that's like even tournament anglers that gets you going.
Yep.
You know, you got a good spinning rod that can do a lot of your techniques. Like medium heavy bait caster that gets you almost all your other techniques. And then if you have a technique that you really like, buy 1 rod for that.
Yep.
That's all you need to start with. You know,
I agree with that. We'll go with Jesse's pick now here.
My pick is gear. If you're going to learn a bait caster, watch some videos before you go out and buy a bait caster.
Yep.
Learn the intricacies of it, how to set the brakes, how to set the spool tensioner, and just learn how to cast. And then go out, get yourself a rod, and then go out in the yard and make some short casts with your brakes all the way on. And as you get more comfortable and used to it, you can ease off on the brakes and work on distance.
Yep. So mine, I thought about this a little bit because I had advanced knowledge because I knew what the topic was going to be. So I had a little bit of an advantage over these guys. But I knew kind of what those 2 right there were definitely of my top 5. Those 2 would have been it. The one thing I think people try to do, and it's going to sound like a complicated concept, but they try to do too much. So kind of like with Chris's too many baits. If you're going out and starting bass fishing for the first time, bring a spinning rod, an EWG hook, maybe some weights, and a Senko.
Yep.
That's it. Start with that. You don't need a chatterbait. You don't need 7 different colors of square bill and a swim jig and a football jig. You don't need all that shit. Yes, I have all that shit. But learn to cast, learn to hit your targets with a Senko. You'll catch some fish with it and build your confidence. Because one of the things, and that's kind of why I wanted to bring this topic up is, and again, it's one of those things that's funny is like, as someone who promotes brands and stuff and talks about it on here, I'm kind of contradicting myself. But at the same time, like, you buy too much stuff that you either are never going to end up using or you don't understand how to use, so you buy the wrong thing. And Chris is going to be able to really touch on this is too many guys go out and they buy an ultralight spinning rod, but don't know what it's for. They go buy a heavy swim bait rod, but they don't throw anything over a half ounce. So there's no reason. Like, too many guys go out and buy stuff that they saw Ben Milliken using and Mike Iaconelli says that this is the rod that you need to use, and they go buy it, but they don't understand what it's for. And they're
Right.
using things like a, extra heavy, fast rod for, trying to throw a Senko, and it just doesn't work. And then they get frustrated and they quit the sport because they spent all this money and it's not doing what they thought it was supposed to do.
Yeah.
I think that's, in my opinion, the biggest mistake I made, and I still make, is colors. I still feel like I need 25 colors of plastics, and at the end of the day, I catch 90% of my fish on 2 colors.
I know. I've been working on cutting back this year. I want to get down to just basically six rods with me at all times. No more than that. I was always trying to get like 10 plus rods going out there with all different kinds of things. I'm like, man, I think I did most of my damage on a chatterbait and a Texas rig this year, with occasional jig thrown in there, which jig and Texas rig can both go on the same rod. And that's really like all you need to do. I mean, I did dabble in some swim bait stuff in the beginning of the year. Just to get myself familiar with it and build some confidence. But again, it's one of those things and I'm more advanced angler, so I'm gonna, branch out. I have my confidence baits and confidence techniques that I know will always produce fish for me. So I'll always have at least one of those rods out there, and then I will bring, like I said, a swim bait rod, or I'll bring I don't know, a frog rod or something like that. And I mean, that last day of the national that I was fishing, I basically took everything that I was using all week long that was working for me, decided that it wasn't going to work anymore. And I'm like, okay, well, I have these other techniques that I've been dabbling in, and I want to just mess around, and I'm kind of just having fun right now. So picked up my frog rod and my punching setup, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to go mess around in the bushes and see what happens.
Yep. No, I think the other thing I think is like, and it's funny because, again, as a content creator, I make these videos, but like, too many people live or die by the 5 baits for May.
Yeah.
It's not those. I'm going to tell you guys a secret that Chris is going to laugh and say, no, that's not true. But a wacky rig, I've used a wacky rig in a fucking ice hole and caught fish on it. You could get away with certain baits are all year round baits. A jerk bait is a perfect example. You fish it faster or slower. A Ned rig. So if you actually think about it, and this is what's kind of funny to me, is as I'm gearing up for ice fishing season and I'm looking at like ice baits, and I'm like, that's a fucking Ned rig.
Yeah.
Like a fucking small, it's a downsized jig is a Ned rig, is a jig. Like there's a lot of baits that work all year long, and people think that they're supposed to use this or that. And I think the other kind of to go with that, it does go with color, but I highly advise you to go to the school of YouTube for learning, but take into account where they're from.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Because part of why I started my channel in the first place was, and I use them as a resource. I watch a lot of their videos. I watch some of their videos today, but Tactical Bassin, they throw out well, you need to use a 12-inch bullworm this time of year. Well, if we throw a fucking 12-inch bullworm in most of our lakes around here, our bass are going to the other side of the lake to get the fuck away from that thing because they've never seen anything that big in their life. And like color, people get hung on color, but like you watch a lot of YouTubers because a lot of the full-time guys are in the South, and they go, well, you need to, when the shad spawn's happening, you need to do this. Well, guys, guess what? We have fucking 2 lakes in the whole state that have a shad species. We don't have that up here. We don't have a shad spawn. Now we have a bluegill spawn. We have perch spawn. There's definitely species that you do target, but the whole match the hatch thing applies more up here because shad colors work, but that's not because they're matching the hatch up here. It's because it's usually different contrast.
Same thing as a shiner. It's the same thing as
it looks a lot like a fall fish or a shiner.
A fall fish, yeah. or a smelt, depending on where you are.
That's true. I know I never thought of that, but that's a good point. And actually,
Same color.
technically, most of the places that you're getting smelt, like Champlain, for example, has alewives, which are a shad.
Similar to just a
species.
fatter instead of a longer.
Yeah, they're similar in that family. But yeah, that's the one thing. And the trends is another thing that I think is like huge. Like, I will be the first to admit, I have a chop block, Berkeley chop block in my fucking cart at Tackle Warehouse right now. I do. It looks good to me, but I also understand where to use that, when to use that, how to use that, what equipment I need to use that. I think too many people buy stuff that they think they're supposed to buy, and then they don't realize what they're supposed to do with it or how they're supposed to fish it.
Yep.
They saw one video and they think that that's.
And there's also certain baits that are just not going to work around here. Like you were saying, talking about 12-inch bullworms. Like if you throw an 8-inch freaking mag draft around here, yeah, you might get some fish following you, but there are not going to be very many fish that are going to commit to that.
Nope. Yeah, you get like those 10, 12-inch glides and stuff. Yeah, you could do damage with them. But the other thing is, and actually kind of goes with that, is the money you're investing on some of those bigger baits. We live where there's these species called pike and pickerel. So some of these guys are throwing these $50 swim baits with no fear because they don't have fish that are going to just go bite your line and take that $50 bait from you.
Right.
Or how about the guys that are throwing those $900 mother chasers?
Yeah.
Mother chasers.
Roma-made
throw
mothers,
that around here. You're going to get a pike that's going to eat that, but you're not going to ever see it again.
Yeah. And the pike's going to hit it from the head and take the whole thing.
Yep. And that's something that, and I'm not saying don't buy the expensive baits, because I'll be the first to admit that, see, I don't really like the Nessie. I looked at the Nessies, but they didn't swim right when I fished them. That's why I do think the chop block might have a little bit better because of the width of it. But
I have.
Have you fished the Nessie at all?
What's that?
Have you fished the Nessie at all?
Nope, I haven't fished the Nessie. I could tell you that the standard size of Italians work really good up by me, especially the gold ones.
See, no, other thing I was thinking about is the white one. I see a lot of guys using the like white chop blocks or the white like glides and stuff. And I've never really had a lot of success with white, but it makes sense that it would work.
I throw white a lot, but that's for me, not for the fish.
See, and that's kind of my logic too, is like it's a contrasting color. So in murky water, they're going to see it. But in clear water, it's just white. There's no detail to it. So it's still a flash regardless.
Right.
Yep.
So
I throw it so I can see it. And I mean, I don't throw straight white hardly ever, but it's so I can see it. And then I use that as my search bait.
Yeah, that's one thing. That's one thing
Go
about
ahead.
the big glides that that's something that's kind of like, I guess it touches on our topic, is you have to understand what baits do, because a lot of times those big swim baits specifically, people fall for that trap because I used to be like, why would you use a bait that big? Their fish are never going to bite it. But what you have to do is understand that you're not going to catch 50 fish on an 8-inch glide.
You're going to get one, maybe two.
But there's a good chance that those one or two are going to be 20 inchers. Or what you are going to do, like what Chris is saying, is what I would do the same thing. You throw a big glide bait or even just a jointed swim bait up against a grass edge and work it slowly back to your boat, and you'll be surprised what comes out of that grass to see what the hell it is.
Right.
So you're going to get, like, if you have a follow-up bait, you're going to get a school of fish that are going to follow that thing back out to see what the hell is going on. So it does work as there is fish. It's a fish finder more than a fish catcher in that case.
Yeah. So you could definitely use it in conjunction with, a 6-inch or even a 5-inch worm.
I like that sentiment. Nickel Bradley.
Exactly.
I feel like I need to get a net with it. It is true though. Some of these baits, dude, when you look at it, they're like 2 ounce, 2.5, 3 ounce baits, like 4 ounce baits. It's like, whoa. But
I think a perfect size bait around here is like a 6-inch freaking those Zal Dangerous Bass
look
Mafia.
good.
Dude, I tell you what, my smallies choke the crap out of those. And I'm talking like 14, 15 inches will choke the hell out of them. The big ones go after it.
those I like those because they're more durable than a mag draft.
Oh, they're way more durable.
They do not the cull shad takes a hit better than a mag draft. The problem with a mag draft is you get 3 fish and then that magnet's gone every time.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually the harness starts to rip out of the head and then now it's junk.
Yep.
Whereas the cull shad has a similar problem, but it's a little bit more durable plastic. But the Zal Dangerous, with it being that line through deal with that, basically it's a flipping hook. It's a fucking high gauge flipping hook. Like the fact that the bait gets to separate when you get a pike, they don't shred the bait in their mouth while they're fighting it back to the boat because the bait's moving up the line. So they can't. I have had trouble with the Zal Dangerous though, where I've had them shake the hook because they're using the weight of the bait kind of going up the line, and it gives them it allows them to get slack. But the sneaky one is the short Zal Dangerous. I don't know what size. It's like a 4-inch. It's like
the 5-inch one. Yeah, that one.
Those are sneaky.
Yep, because you can throw them on a basic jig rod, and that's going to be perfect for it.
Yeah, and they swim really good.
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys seen the Flux Gill yet?
Yep, I've seen it.
Not in person, but
I
got some
in that bin right there. I fished them on that when I went down to Connecticut.
Oh, did you?
Oh man.
Yeah, they look good in the water. I think they're going to be a sneaky like chatterbait. The small one's going to be a sneaky chatterbait trailer because it's going to flare out that trailer and give you just a little bit of a tail kick, but it's definitely going to be a sneaky little like flipping bait for sure. They seem a little. I use them on a twist lock hook though instead of like straight EWG.
Yeah,
because they are max scent soft. So on an EWG hook, they're gonna, or like a flipping hook, you're gonna go through them quick.
Yeah.
Apparently, you're supposed to Nico rig them.
Yeah, I've seen that.
I don't know if I like that or not.
They tear out pretty quick.
They're max scent soft. That's the problem. That's what I love about max scent is the action, but it's just like a Kitech.
Yeah.
And actually, that's another thing to go with is don't think that you have to buy Yamamoto Senko.
Right.
Buy dingers.
Yeah. Buy the young dinger. If a Bass Pro is near you, buy a Sticko.
Oh, dude, honestly, that's the one bait I will say. The freaking Bass Pro has some of their shit, yeah, but their freaking Sticko is good. They're like
The
knockout.
Sticko has some great colors too. That
they do,
has.
and they have like I can't remember what their swim bait is called, but the Kitech knockoff that they have.
Oh, yeah.
Those are pretty solid too.
They're very solid. They'll all compete with either a Kitech or a Rage Tail.
I love Kitechs.
Yeah.
But so do bluegill.
Right.
And they get expensive real fast because the bluegill just shred them.
Yeah.
The problem with Kitechs is they're like a 3-fish bait too. Like,
right.
You gotta know
Bass Pro or the Rage Tailers are more durable.
Yeah. Trying to think of line too. I think guys invest way too much in line before they're ready.
Oh yeah.
You get guys buying fucking Tatsu and putting it on bait casters before they know how to cast a bait caster.
Oh my god, they're wasting so much freaking line.
Yeah.
That's actually a good point too. I didn't think about that, but yeah, you do backing, guys. Backing is your friend.
Yeah, get some basics. If you want to dabble in fluorocarbon, get some basics or some Red Label and play with that.
Dude, I use Red Label for 90% of my rods. I love my Red Label.
I decided to go a little bougie this year and invest invest in that Daiwa Hidden Concept. Like I've used it
Wow.
before and I really like it.
Yeah,
And
I
around
haven't tried
here,
that.
it's like awesome.
I haven't tried that yet. I did try some Tatsu and some. What was the other one I tried? Oh, and Vizex, and I don't think it's any better than the Red Label.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, maybe
I-
it's a little thinner.
I used Invisex this year, and at first I used it for the last 2 years, and I was really hooked on it. And then this year I had a problem with, like, I don't know if it was a manufacturing I bought a 1,000-yard spool of it, and a couple of my reels, maybe it's because I got old throughout the year, but like I had a couple, like I had breakoffs at Lamoille, and I had breakoffs that I should not have had, and I started noticing my line was getting like coarse, like it
Yep.
was getting fucked up,
Yeah,
and it was getting abraded in places where it wasn't rubbing on rocks and stuff. It was from stretching out, and I was like, but
yeah.
So
I mean, I
one-
like the
one thing I
Abrasics,
did-
and I could cast it a little further because it's thinner. But
Yeah.
for the money, the Red's fine. And if I blow a reel up, or if I'm getting a little low, I switch it out quick.
I will say, XPS Fluoro from Bass Pro, I'm gonna be picking some of that up too.
I
They
tried
got-
their braid. I wasn't impressed. So I
Their
didn't
braid
try their
sucks.
fluoro.
I'm not a fan of their braid,
I'm
but
not
their fluoro is on par with Seagar stuff,
That's
in my
good.
opinion,
I can try
and
that
a
then
third of the
when it goes on
price.
sale.
So
No, I did straight Daiwa this year because, like I said, I use that, and then I'm trying out the J braid.
J braid's good. It's coarse.
it's wicked coarse.
The J braid I had is very coarse. And
Well,
I'll be honest,
so-
on my frog rod or my big punching flipping stick, I like
Yep.
it. I don't
Yeah.
like it on a chatterbait rod.
I'm using the J braid. It's the 8 carrier, so
Yep.
but
I
I've
haven't
got
tried the
65 pound for my frogging setup, and then I've got 80 pound for my freaking flipping and punching setup.
Well, yeah,
you went down
you went down to Gunnersville. I'm like, why the hell do you have 80 pound? I'm like sitting here, I'm like, why the hell is he using 80 pound in Vermont? I'm like, oh, he went to Gunnersville. Yeah.
Well, I can tell you what, that 80 pound will absolutely get. So Tickle Naked, right?
Yep.
All that pickerel grass in there. 65 pound is questionable when you're trying to wrench him out of there. So that's why
I could
I
see
did
that.
80 on that.
I've never broke braid, heavy braid. I've never broke it.
I
Even
haven't
when I
either,
wanted
but I
to.
just want to make sure that I don't.
Yeah, Chris's point though is there is a difference, and that's something to learn too, is the differences in line. So like heavily waxed line versus coarse line. Like if you're fishing grass, the coarse line's actually beneficial because it cuts it. When you set that hook with a frog rod, there's nothing more gratifying than you just clear cut a whole section of pads when you set that hook.
Right.
But with moving baits like chatterbait, stuff like that you could be dragging over wood, coarse line will cut into wood and you'll never get that bait back.
Right.
So you want a more slick line for stuff like that where it'll just kind of slide over structure and not cut into structure. So
and
there
it's
is
quieter in the water too. People don't
Yep.
realize that it really is quieter in the water, especially on a moving bait.
Yep. Yeah, no,
so
there's a major difference
So
there.
the stuff that I had is much waxier, and the reason that I use it is so when I go punching in the deep shit, I want to be able to get in there and because I used to use Max Quattro, and that's a 4 carry. You know how freaking abrasive that is.
Yeah.
And you're lifting it up and down, and it's just going. Right.
Oh yeah, you have the like. To be honest though, like guilty pleasure, there's just something about when you set a hook on a fish and you hear the.
Oh yeah.
Right.
There is a little bit of an excitement in your brain when you hear that squeak as that like line is pulled, but it's also really hard on your line guides. It cuts into your, like when you're doing like hard punching stuff like that and you're trying to pull out a fish out of that stuff, it does do it. I've had it pop guides and cut into stuff. I haven't had it happen with my FX, but other rods I've had like, I don't know what you'd actually be able to know this, Chris, but I don't know what the material that FX.
That's what it is. It's the lower components. Lower grade eyes have a softer component.
Yeah,
the
because
eye.
I've literally
See.
worn grooves in eyes. And
Even
rods.
ceramic guides, that people brag, oh, ceramic guide. Ceramic guides are still cut.
Yeah,
It's got to be the right guide. I've only ever seen one FX rod come with a cut on the actual tip eye,
yeah,
and that's one, and I think it was a crack, not a cut.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I haven't popped any guides on any of my. I've broken rods because I've tried to fucking grab the end of the rod, but dude, I used that rod that I fixed.
Yeah,
It was
Okay.
weird, dude. It's so fast. Basically,
Right.
I took a medium heavy fast and took almost 2.5 guides off of it and put a tip saver on it. So it's like extremo fast. Like it's not even like extra fast. It's like extreme fast.
So you got a broomstick in your hand now.
Dude, I'm thinking about using it though as like a short flipping stick.
Yeah.
Because I'll be able to fucking jack them with that thing.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Hooks. There's going to be no delay on getting the hook into them because the rod's loaded once I've casted it.
Right.
So I'm going to try using it for stuff like that. I even thought about it. It's so short. I thought about using it as an extra long jig rod for ice fishing and just sit there and hold it over the hole.
Set the hook there. The fish will come up and hit their head on the ice.
5.5 foot jig rod, but that's okay.
Oh man, that's
Wow.
funny. That reminds me of one of the fish I jacked at Gunnersville. It was like a freaking 12-incher, and he ate it like a freaking 20, and I jacked him, and he came flying out of the grass and went for a ride and then came off, and I don't know, sent him like 10, 15 feet in the other direction.
I wish I'd gotten it on camera. I hit myself in the chest with a fish. I hit a bass. It was a swim jig, and I hit it like a swim jig,
Mhm.
and it was like a fucking 6-inch largemouth, and that thing came out. It was straight in front of me. He was probably about 10 yards off the front of my boat, and I hit that thing, and it went and hit me right in the chest. That thing had stood no chance at all. Because I think he came up to hit it, and I set it, and he just continued to be launched into space. Yeah, that's actually my biggest problem with, ironically, ice fishing. I've been pricing out rods and stuff like that, and like I have to like think about how like when I ice fish, I have to like remember like I'm not jig hook setting. Like
And you're not gentle.
just lift, like
Yep.
because I end up like ripping the face off of a perch or something because.
Yeah.
Daniel says he uses a 7-11 rod, extra heavy, 50-pound braid. Yeah, in Georgia, that would make sense.
Yep.
You guys we have like weird water up here too, though, because I'm learning more and more like as I do more research. Like we have very diverse fisheries.
Right.
We don't have like your typical heavy grass lakes, but there's a few. But there's also a lot of lakes that have just rock. Like fucking Echo, perfect example. That place is just all hard bottom, like
Echo don't have rocks. Echo has freaking boulders and freaking trees.
Yeah. But like we have the ability to do. We have to actually, I feel like, be more well-rounded if you're like doing pond fishing here than in some places, because you just have so many different specific fisheries. And the forage is slightly different because some of our lakes have trout, some don't. Some have, more bluegill or perch than anything else, but some have fall fish and other shit that they're eating.
Right.
There's some lakes I swear don't have craws at all.
Mm-hmm.
I know they probably do because they're everywhere, but there's some lakes that I swear the fish don't eat craws at all because they want nothing to do with any craw type of trailer or type of bait. But you throw a 3-inch Kitech on a freaking swim bait head and they're all over it all day.
Right.
So would you guys vary up your so if you're fishing, do you vary up sizes in your baits a lot, or do you kind of just stick with one size for everything?
I do. Like when Jesse said he's going down to 6 rods, I went up to 10 this year from 8 because that way it gives me at least, I normally have at least 3 baits with 2 sizes.
Okay.
Like, whether it's my, me, I don't throw the wacky, but I throw a Ned.
Yeah.
I'll have a very similar, sometimes different color, but same one, but one's heavy, one's light.
Yep.
One's a 3-inch, one's a 2-inch, whatever.
Yep.
And I do that. on at least 3 baits normally. At least 1 or 2 different Neds are that way. Same thing if I'm throwing a swim bait or a chatterbait even. It'll be either a heavier or a lighter chatterbait. So I'll have that rod already tied on. And like you can retie a chatterbait pretty quick, but why retie when I got the rod holder behind me?
It's the thing about it is that's where a tournament mentality comes in too, though. Like if I'm fun fishing, I don't usually have the same bait on 2 different rods.
Right.
But if I'm tournament fishing and I know like there's a wacky bite or there's a jig bite, then I may have 2 rods with the exact same, especially finesse style baits with like braid the leader.
Yeah.
Because if I break off, I can just immediately reach for that other wacky rig rod or Ned rod or drop shot or whatever. I have that, especially drop shot. Actually, drop shot is a bait. If I feel like drop shot's going to work, you kind of have to have almost 2.
Yeah.
Because retying that's a pain in the ass and a lot of time.
Yep.
Unless you do that like cheat code drop shot that I'm playing around with next year. But
you talking about that VMC one?
So it's the way they do it is with bobber stops. So what you do is you put a hook on it, you put a bobber stop. I'm actually going to do 2. I'm going to put 1 above and below the hook.
Yep.
And probably maybe even 2 below the hook so that the hook can't slide down when you do the hook set. So you get a little bit more bite so you can get the hook buried into them first. But instead of tying the hook's essentially like, it's kind of like a free rig backwards. So where your weight would normally be on a free rig is where your hook is.
Yep.
And the idea behind it is that you can vary your leader length that way. And you don't have to tie the hook on. The only thing I don't know, and I am going to experiment with, I'm probably going to do video on it, but the only thing I don't know is if you're going to be able to get enough pressure on that hook without the.
I think that would really, I would think that would really determine based on the size of the hook. Like if you use a simple like 1 or a size 2, something that's like super thin, you should be able to get that hook set.
Yeah, you're going to want to use a true like. One of those like like the ones I joke about, but like the ones that you set on your finger and you start bleeding, like those hooks that are just so stupid sharp that it doesn't matter. Those hooks that you don't actually set the hook on, you just start reeling and it just automatically penetrates the fish. Because I like that idea because for 2 reasons. 1, I'm not a big drop shot fan, but it's a bait I'm determined to learn next year. It's just the St. Lawrence taught me that I need to learn how to use it. Because a lot of the guys I talk to up there, that's what all they use. They drop shot the shit out of that place. And there's things you can do with a drop shot that people don't realize. Like I used to swim a drop shot a lot. Throw a paddle tail on a drop shot, put a big leader on it, and let that ding off the bottom, and it basically gives you a swim bait that's suspended off the bottom. Stuff like that is sneaky.
Yeah. I don't even bother with a drop shot anymore. I just go straight Ned. So
see, dude, I don't even fish a Ned.
I mean, I have a drop shot, but I fish the Ned more.
Yep.
The Ned's another one. I'm going to be spending a lot of time on Chris's Lake, I think, and that's where I'm going to play because that's a heavily. You can tell just by fishing it that's a Ned Lake, and I'm going, and that's what it is. You know what I think actually is kind of bringing this back around. That's actually I think a lot of what determines. Your lake, your home lake, whatever your home lake is determined as, a lot of times is going to determine what your confidence baits are.
Right.
Like, I like the swim jig. I like grass fishing baits. Well, guess what? The lake that's 20 minutes from my house that I catch most of my fish in, guess what it is?
Right.
It's a fucking Florida lake in Vermont is what it looks like in the midsummer.
At least in the section you fish.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Where I catch most of my fish, that's what it is. And I don't ever have to fish deep there. So I'd never learned it.
You talking about Mama?
That one too. Same makeup.
Yeah, I got to come down there this year and do some practice fishing because that tri-state so bass like expanded or bass kayak expanded from New Hampshire, and now they're doing basically a tri-state trail.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yep. So, and then of course one of the last ones in the year is freaking beginning of August down in Bombazine. I'm like, I could do some, some good grass flipping in that
Dude,
shit.
beginning in August, yeah, I can.
Mhm.
I don't know what your information sharing rules are, but yeah.
Oh, I have absolutely no doubt that I could go down there and find a freaking awesome grass bite in there.
Well, dude, just let me know when you're coming down because,
Yep.
again, depending on what the rules are, I'm gonna have the bass boat definitely by the time
Yeah.
you're gonna be
So
practicing that.
the rules are stating that we can't practice from the Tuesday before the tournament up to the tournament.
Yep.
So it would end up being like the week prior to that.
But anything goes before that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, because dude, I'll have the bass boat, so I can take you out and we can cover a bunch of water, and I can show you exactly what ideas of where to be. I'm not necessarily going to give you baits because I don't think that's within the rules, but I can pull you up to a dock and start fishing and let you figure stuff out.
Oh yeah. I mean,
But
that's
yeah,
pretty.
dude, and I don't know Bombazine. Like, I'm no expert on Bombazine, but I've
Mhm.
spent a lot of time. I've gained a lot of confidence on that lake.
Yeah.
Um,
I just know that
because
there's a lot of good big fish in there from everything that I've seen, and I
there's
know that it's one of those lakes where you could do well deep if you have electronics, or if you don't have them, you can go up shallow and go play around in the mud.
dude, it's really two lakes. Realistically, it's two lakes. It's
Yeah.
kind of three, but the southern end is a lot of grass and there is sections that have rock. There's a sandbar down there that has a good smally type area,
Yep.
but there's a deep section on the other side if you want to go do the deep thing. But then
You talking about up north?
the northern end.
It's
So the northern end is shallow as fuck.
Yeah.
Yep.
Kayak stuck shallow.
I can tell you right now. Now you're welcome to do what you want to do, but in August you're probably not going to want to fish above float bridge.
Right.
Mm.
I would agree with that. I think
It's a fucking hay meadow by
stagnant.
then. It's probably
I could be wrong. But
it's 4 feet of water and 6 feet of grass. Yeah, it's because they don't touch the northern part at all. They don't play with that at all. It is a marsh at best. Now around the access up, because there's two accesses too.
Yeah.
The northern access has a good little grass flat right there that can be productive.
Uh-huh.
But it is a tale of two lakes in the sense of like you have to know what you want to do. If you want to fish grass, you could do that all day, every day there. If you want to fish rock and hard bottom, then there's a section for that. But you have to kind of decide. I'll be honest, you're better off targeting largemouth, at least for your kicker.
Mm-hmm.
And then you
can
can fill a bag.
The lake.
You can fill a bag with smallmouth, but you're probably gonna win with a couple of the largemouth.
Hey, Jermaine's here.
Because there is big smallies in there, don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah.
There's
no, I would
monsters
definitely that time of year I would definitely be targeting largemouth. Like smallmouth in the late summer, man, they're such a pain in the ass to chase.
You'd be surprised, dude, actually. So on Bombazine, the smallmouth are similar to pensioner in where they live.
Oh, you mean they identify as largemouth?
They identify as largemouth. They really do. I've caught some of the biggest smallmouth I've caught there. Now, don't get me wrong. I caught some monster smallmouth throwing square bills over rock like you're supposed to. Yep. But I've also caught smallmouth on the island flipping a half-ounce flipping jig.
Mm-hmm. Probably because they're up there chasing craws.
Well, because they live in there's the island that's in the center of that lake is the community hole of all community holes, because what it is around the edge of it you're talking 6 feet, basically bluff wall all the way around it, but then just off of that it goes to 50 feet, and on one side there's a grass flat and on one side there's a deep hole, so you have every possible type of bass fishery in an area.
Yeah,
So
so
you get
it's almost like the island in Island Pond in a way.
similar.
Yeah.
So you get like that, like you get bluegill and perch and trout, and everything lives there because you have the ability for them to change depths. They can hide, they can live. All the structures there for them for days. You got wood and rock along the island, but the only problem with that is, especially in a tournament, that gets hit. The first place, you watch every bass boat comes in that ramp, motors to the island. They do a lap around the island, they motor out. Another boat comes in, they do a lap around the island. It's literally the most community hole spot I've ever seen in Vermont.
See, I would not want to mess with that. I would go find the thickest fucking shit I could possibly find, take out my flipping stick and just start punching freaking mats because I know 90% of the people are not going to be doing that, especially up north.
That's the north end, dude. That north end above Float Bridge, that's where you're going to want to do that. Now, there is big ones up there. I've gone up there. The only problem is up there you're paddling. You're not using your motor.
Yeah, no, and that's fine. And
Yeah.
that's part of the reason why I decided to get a Coosa X and then go with a rear motor so that I can motor up there and then pull my paddle out and just start going around.
Yeah, that's actually where I lost my paddle one day. Let me tell you, that fucking sucked.
Oh, man.
I went up in there, got all the way up in there, and I was fishing. I only caught a few small ones, and then I started working my way back, and I was pedaling back because there's basically a channel where the boats go through, and that's the only place you can really move. And I got outside the bridge, and I started coming back through the other side, and my drive got hung up, and I pulled the grass out, put the drive back down, got hung up again. I said, fuck this, and I reached for my paddle, and I went, no. And I ended up having to basically pedal 3 feet at a time and then pull weeds out of my drive all the way out. That's a fun lake, dude. That's a cool lake to fish. I think I saw St. Catherine was on that list too.
It is, but that St. Catherine's going to be in June, I think. And right, St. Catherine's down in Pulteney.
Yeah,
right? Yeah. So that's going to be in June, and I won't be here for that.
Okay, dude, that fucking St. Catherine. I would not want to be there in June, anyways. That place.
I've heard that place gets hammered with fucking motorboats.
Dude, it's worse than any. It's probably the most. I can't say that. It's not worse than Dunmore. Dunmore is probably the worst recreated lake in the state. But Dunmore is I would say 75% of the boats in the ramp. And keep in mind, when I say in the ramp, they park on Sunday. They're parked up the road. All the way to the corner, and it's all wake boats and jet skis.
Ugh.
It's very few fishing boats because you can't. Basically what happens. Bombazine's the same way. There's a changing of the guard. So what happens is the anglers get there at daylight, and we get out by 11.
Yep.
And then the wake boats and jet skis come in around noon, 1 o'clock, and they basically kind of like take over the lake.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to go there to fish, you better get in and get out early because otherwise you're going to be buzzed by jet skis all day long.
Well, they ain't going to be buzzing me if I'm way up in the marsh.
No, actually, if you launch from Float Bridge, if you get there early, you aren't putting that ramp is. I'm not even like the angle of the ramp is this.
Fuck
coming out of there. You're not bringing a. I mean, you could. I've seen guys bring big old pontoon boats out of there, but it's not a very big. It's not much bigger than Pensioner's parking lot.
Yep.
And it's literally like this, and it's around a corner. So bringing a big boat in and out of there sucks.
I won't be having a big boat out of there. Yeah, like I said, I'm gonna get that Coosa, and I'm freaking, a little 12 and not even a 12-footer. So.
And you got that trailer now too, right?
Yep.
That'll be cool.
Oh, yeah.
Those trailers are if I was gonna get a trailer, those Malones look pretty sick.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked about it. I gotta wait another, I don't know, month or so. They said it was supposed to be here sometime in the beginning of next year. So
Do they ship those to you, or do you have to pick it up, or how does that work?
no, they ship it and then I put it together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So
That's
it'll
not
come
too
in a pretty good sized box, and then you just pull all the parts out and freaking throw it together. It should take only like an hour and a half, 2 hours. to
Yeah,
put
I
together.
imagine it's just a bunch of square tubing that all slides inside of itself and then bolts together, I would imagine. But
Yep.
that's pretty cool though.
Mm-hmm.
If I didn't have my trailer, I won't go without a trailer ever again. That car topping shit's for the birds. Brad, you heard me.
Yeah, I'm kind of getting sick and tired of throwing my blue sky in the back of my truck. So,
Dude,
Yeah.
it's
Brad has a trailer now.
yeah. I don't know how guys do it. It's not even the lifting. It's the breaking shit down. Like the fact that I can just pull my fish finder up, put my rods down,
yep.
and stow my stuff and get out of there and not have
Mhm.
to put all of it in the back of my truck and then drive home and then unload it from my truck and then like fuck that. Like it sucks to do all that. Yeah, weak mofos, he says. Dude, I will say I've had the Old Town, you can do it a lot better with the Old Town. The Native, fuck no. That thing is 175 pounds dry. No.
Yep. Shit, my freaking blue sky is 100
Dude,
almost 150 dry, and then with all my gear and plus the motor on it, I mean,
Right.
you know,
they weren't joking when they say big adventures. They mean trying to lift that thing's a big adventure because
it really was.
Kayaks are heavy.
So the last day of the national, my freaking legs broke on my fucking or on the blue sky. So the guys, it took 4 of us to freaking move that thing down to the water to launch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah. And I'm like, I think it's time for me to downsize.
So you're doing a Kusa or are you doing a NAR?
Nope, I'm doing a Kusa.
Okay.
No,
why the Kusa?
So I checked the NAR out, and when I went down to Jackson, I checked them out, and so when I started kayak fishing, I started in a Perception, the Outlaw. So I like that open deck feature, which is also why I like the blue sky. And the NAR, freaking, I mean, it's nice, but having that pedal drive smack dab in the middle is, obnoxious, and you can't really adjust that far.
Yeah.
Whereas with the Kusa, it's a lot easier. It's a completely open deck, and it's smaller. It's lighter, significantly lighter. Plus, it's a better river boat.
Okay.
So, and if I start going in places, so one of the places that we're supposed to be doing on this trail is on the Connecticut River. So
I'm gonna be playing around. That's another bucket list. Like it's not a bucket list. I mean, I fished there 2 weeks ago, but like I want to figure because the Connecticut's gonna usually open up earlier than everything else. It's a good opportunity for me to get fishing earlier.
Yeah.
And those river fish tend to deal with cold weather better. So like they're gonna bite earlier. And I want to try to build abilities better and current.
Yeah.
I need to learn current, and it's not like the Connecticut has major current all the time. Sometimes it's not that big, but it's current still, and I have to learn how to fish rivers. So, and the thing is it's a pretty freaking solid fishery that I just keep omitting, and it's not that far. Hour and a half for I think was the closest ramp to me. So
yeah.
Bobby
I want to do it more because I got a couple of little pockets on my section up here by the reservoir.
Yeah.
Well, you got the reservoir too, right?
Yep, we got the reservoir. But the section further down from that, where it's like Comerford area, it's pretty wide and relatively shallow, which I think allows the current to be a little faster.
Yeah.
So, I definitely want to get on that. And because, in the future, if I do like a Bassmaster or something and they go on the Susky or down on the Potomac, I kind of want to get a little experience on the river rather than go into one of those spots and be like, oh, what the fuck do I do?
Dude, I learned, so being predominantly a pond fisherman, when we went to the St. Lawrence, I got my ass kicked. And it was purely not knowing how did not understanding current. And it's weird to say that because I probably consume more YouTube fishing and information than most people consume any other type of knowledge because I'm obsessed with fishing. But like, I know the concepts, but I don't have the practice to apply the concepts when I need to apply them. And that's why I want to get that exposure, because really that's the biggest thing, in my opinion, is fishing is not really like, it's not about knowing how to do it, because I know how to fish a drop shot. I've caught maybe 10 fish on it. I know how to fish specific baits. It's the confidence and the ability to apply it at the right time.
Correct. Yeah. Connecticut River flows one way. I don't think you're going to see tidal until you get down to like
Massachusetts.
There is parts that when you get down to like more.
You got to make it. I think it's below Merrimack.
Yeah.
There's somewhere there because there's a set of falls down in like, I want to say it's right there by where the Bass Pro is. There's a set of falls right there.
Yep.
So there's no tide above that for sure.
Yep.
So
the thing with the Connecticut's weird too is like if you go far enough south down there, you actually can get striper. There's actually a striper run too.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And there's actually shad in there.
Yeah, and in Massachusetts they do all that.
Yeah, they get like the Mass side, they do come up in there to spawn, which is cool. Because I know guys that will hit the Connecticut. They go over the Cape too, but like they hit the Connecticut to like there's like a striper run that if you hit it right, you can actually catch stripers right there. And they don't have all the limit. A lot of guys have started going there instead of the Hudson because they don't have the same bag limits and the rules that they have on the Hudson. So, but yeah, the Connecticut and Champlain, and it's I feel like, I don't want to say a failure, but I feel like a failure in the sense of like I barely fish Champlain, and I should. I have literally a bucket list like top 10 nationwide fishery in my backyard, and I just don't spend any time there, and I need to. So I'm gonna start.
Yeah, same here. I mean, the only time that I've been on Champlain was probably like close to 15 years ago when my stepson was like still young, and we went out on a chartered trip for a few hours and caught a bunch of pike and a few bass and stuff. But other than that, I haven't been out there. And you know, to be a Vermonter and not be on Champlain is kind of stupid.
It's funny because I get asked that, like when I go to like trade shows and stuff, and people talk to me, they're like, "Oh, you must fish Champlain all the time." And I'm like, "I haven't fished Champlain in 2 years, year and a half.
I haven't fished it in forever."
Now, don't get me wrong, part of it, and it's a cop out, but like the kayak is to realistically fish it with the kayak, I would need to come up by Chris, because down by me, there's a lot of just wide open corridors that if the weather kicks up, you're fucked, and you might as well go home. It's not worth it.
Well, what if you go even further south to the grass flats and stuff down there by like Ticonderoga?
So you would think that, but what happens is down. You'd have to go even lower than that, like Benson,
down by Orleans or somewhere down
because Ticonderoga gets nasty.
Yeah, it's still what 500-600 yards wide, maybe wider, and it goes straight up, and the wind is always straight up and down there.
I've been so partly why. Two things that are happening. One of them is probably going to be buying a trolling motor from you once I get my money saved up. But my bass boat has a 40-something pound thrust trolling motor, and I had it one day at Larrabee's Point, which is just up from Ticonderoga. I had it full tilt, and I was going backwards. Champlain gets fucking nasty, and that's one of the reasons why I haven't fished it, because the places that are close to me, there is some good fishing there, but it's subjective to bad weather quickly. I could go up by where Chris is. He has the advantage of like there's enough points, islands, land breaks that.
Well, where are you at?
St. Albans area.
Oh, okay, so you're really up there then.
Inland Sea,
yeah. So
I'm actually north of St. Albans, so.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's on that area where you can tuck into like Mounts Bay and hide
Yep.
from the weather, or you can tuck
Mhm.
into here or there, and you have a bunch of
And
ramps.
even then, the weather is not nearly as bad up there because you don't have freaking 40 miles or 50 miles of freaking.
You would think that, but that's where they canceled the Bassmaster tournament last year. Was where they were fishing up there.
I can show you some rough water where you can see land all the way around you, and I've been in 4 to 6s.
Yeah.
When it blows, it blows.
Yeah,
No,
and that's one of the reasons why next year I've already it's a thing. The boat's getting fixed in March. It's going to the fucking boat doctor, and then it's gonna be I'm gonna try to dedicate. My goal is to dedicate 1 day a week Champlain, even if it's a different ramp every time. Just play around and just because there's so much opportunity there.
Right.
Oh yeah,
Catch a big one. You know what I mean? The thing is it's the diversity too. Like I can, if I want to go largemouth heavy, I can fish local to me. There's a lot of places local to me. But if I want to go for the big smallies, or there's big largemouth up there too, I can come up north. I just have to like. It's funny is your perception of how far is too far to travel for fishing. That distance gets bigger the longer you fish. I used to think an hour was a long drive to go fishing. I used to think going up to Maury, which is an hour and a half from my house, was a trek. Saturday,
dude, I just made it down to Gunnersville and back.
Two weeks ago, I drove to fucking Greenfield, Massachusetts, to fish on the Connecticut River. Like I'm going to St. Lawrence in June. Like it's like I fish up by Chris all the time, and that's 2 hours for me. I know I do a tournament up there every month at a lake by him that I drive 2 hours to fish the tournament and then go home.
We ought to get together in like July or something and just go mess around up there.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. If you come down, when I'll have the boat ready, you can come down and freaking, if you want to, crash here.
Yeah. All right.
I got a fucking spare bedroom. Just crash in the spare bedroom, and you can spend a couple of days so you don't have to try to find lodging and just fucking fish. And I'm all about doing that.
Right.
That's the funny thing about the fishing community is it's like that's what it's like for me and Chris. Like I call Chris and say, "Hey, dude, I'm doing a tournament on Saturday. I'm sleeping at your house." He's like, "Yep."
Yeah.
Like I have a lot of weird connections like that. So
yeah, I told you when
Massachusetts that come up and stay.
Yeah, I told you when you came up, to fish Salem. I'm like, you can crash here if you want.
Yeah, I do. No, we're definitely going to be doing that. Sounds like Maine's coming up too, huh? In the spring or something, he's coming up to do a trip up there.
If you're Maine, yep.
I definitely want to be part of that. I'll definitely come up for that.
Yep. I'm planning on it'll probably be end of April, and I'm planning on putting him on pensioner. So we're gonna get that boy.
He's fished. He's got a diversity that he's done where he is, but I think he's gonna be interested in that lake. That lake is. It's a miniaturized version, but it's a very Vermont lake.
It is,
and
he's going to like it because in the particular time that I want to go there, they're going to be in one spot and pretty much one spot only, so we don't have to freaking move very far.
Yep.
To find them, and it's it's just a matter of dropping your bait down and freaking hauling them in.
Well, and
but they're only there for like a week and a half, 2 weeks, and then after that, they're freaking everywhere.
Yeah. Well, if he wants to play around with pickerel, I can tell him a spot.
Oh yeah, I know the spot you're talking about.
Wow, dude, that was.
It's
fun because honestly, it saved my day because I was pissed off I hadn't caught anything yet, and then bam, 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 bam. Like, wow,
dude, I tell you what, those freaking reeds, man. If there were largemouth in there, that would be the best largemouth.
I don't think
pond.
I don't think. There can be. I think that's why there's no largemouth there, because it's just packed. They just don't want to compete with the pickerel. Like I think the pickerel just out-competed them over there, so they just don't hang out over there. Because there is that.
What are you talking about? The smallmouth?
No, the reeds on that backside where all those pickerel live.
Yeah.
I think what it is I think they just kind of claimed that as their zone. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like, because
Well,
it's like,
I'm just saying, if there was largemouth in,
oh yeah,
yeah, then they would be in there.
oh, you would have
That'd be-
you'd have 5-pounders in there easy.
Oh, easy.
Because the perch I caught in there are massive.
Yeah, they are.
Like,
There's
the food quality is in there.
Pensioner is one of those places that I go to get a lot of trophy-sized fish in one shot, and I'm looking at 6, at least 5, but probably 6 different species that you can target and get trophy size in there. So you got pickerel, the smallies, obviously, the fall fish,
Yeah, the fall fish
bass, perch,
massive.
and what's the other? Oh, my daughter had pulled out a freaking ginormous pumpkin seed out of there a couple of years ago. It was probably close to 10 inches.
Yeah.
And that's 6 species right there. And I have personally seen bullhead catfish in there, so I know they're in there.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got those in Hortonia, and they're like,
yeah. So there's
I caught the only time I've ever caught them is on lipless crankbaits of all things too. I don't know why, but
yep. No, but yeah, it's one of those magical places. You go up in there, and like I said, I've got it dialed in pretty good, and I hopefully can get Jermaine on him, and he'll catch so many freaking smallmouth he'll get bored with it.
Dude, it ruins you though when you have a lake like that near you. You have to like break away. You have to go test yourself, because you go to those lakes and then you're like, okay, well, I know it's hard to like. I have that problem. I did a really good job this year. Like, I actually went like almost 2 months without really fishing Hortonia at all.
Yep.
And it's because I purposely forced myself to be like, yeah, I could go there, but I need to learn this, or I need to learn that. And that's, I need to get better at a lot of different techniques. I'm trying to be more well-rounded, because I get into a situation where if they're not biting a swim jig, a wacky rig, or we'll say, like, I didn't even fish a paddle tail probably from June on last year. And I don't know why. I have no idea why I stopped fishing them. I was having so much success with the swim jig that I would just throw that instead. Or I would throw a wacky rig, or just not throw it at all. And I actually literally bought a mold for paddle tails so I can make even more paddle tails. And I'm gonna basically plan on like always having one tied on and fish again. Because I used to throw freaking paddle tail, like my entire channel was basically started on the fucking belly weighted Kiteg. And I just stopped doing it.
Yeah, I haven't fished a paddle tail in 2 years.
I need to, because it's like so versatile. Like,
it is. But again, I like you said, you get on that swim jig or a chatterbait, and
it's way more fun to jack a face with a swim jig than it is to set the hook with a paddle tail. But the other thing I need to do is I need to learn more finesse techniques. I'm very one-dimensional with the fucking finesse stuff. And I've got to diversify.
Dude, I'll tell you what.
Because I keep getting fucking beat by people who are doing it. So I got to start.
Yeah. Finesse underspin.
I do it. Oh, dude, I love, what's funny is, dude, I've gone as far as like in the springtime, I throw fucking beetle spins. I catch bass on freaking beetle spin. Well, actually, probably one of the best baits. My most successful early season baits is a fucking number 3 Mepps spinner.
I believe that.
Dude, it's dumb what you can do with a freaking inline Mepps spinner in Fire Tiger in the spring. Like, and you'll catch gigantic bass on this little freaking, I mean, they rust out before the end of the day, but like they're the shittiest quality hook you'll ever use, but at the same time, man, you'll catch fish on them constantly. But paddle and in the spring, paddle tails are like solid. Like that's what they're targeting. So I got to get back on that mentality of doing that, but I also got to learn to drop shot and Ned rig. And the drop shot's not really, I'm not going to use that as much, but I do need to Ned rig more. I have all the stuff. Like that's the whole thing is I don't have an excuse. I have the equipment, I have the ability, I have the knowledge. I just throw a wacky rig, and if I don't catch a fish, I start throwing chatterbait and I give up and walk away. I just need to stop doing that because unfortunately when the bite gets tough,
you got to start with the chatterbait and then go to the little stuff.
Oh, dude, it's bad for me because I very rarely there's days where I don't throw a finesse bait at all.
Oh yeah,
yep. Not even once.
I don't typically start throwing a finesse bait until like July.
See, tournaments, I can't say that. Tournaments, I'm getting 5 fish with a wacky rig. I can tell you right now that's gonna happen. Now, are they the 5 fish to beat, Chris? No, they're not. They're fucking 5 fish, and then I gotta go get big ones, and then I gotta figure something out. But the thing that I think, go ahead. Sorry.
That's the thing though is getting those 5 fish with your confidence bait. Once you do that, that takes so much pressure off, and then you're like, okay, I got like 8 hours or 6 hours to freaking upgrade these 5 freaking 12 inchers now.
And that's actually kind of brings us back to the topic of don't think that a micro finesse jig won't catch a 5-pounder. And don't think that an 8-inch glide bait is always going to only catch 5-pounders. The size of the bait does not always determine the size of the fish you're going to catch. But guys make that mistake all the time. I have caught monster fish on tiny little fucking baits.
Yep.
Matter
of fact, I was catching 28-inch pike on 6 cents Picos underspins. And if you know what those are, that's why Jesse's laughing. It's this big. It's a 16th ounce underspin with a little plastic tail on it. And I was hooking largemouth and smallmouth, and sometimes they just want a snack. They don't want a big meal. And that's what I do play around sometimes. Like I'll even hybridize, like instead of a drop shot, I'll do the the Rig X or the high-low rig with the net on the bottom and then the drop shot hook.
So what I started doing was I actually kind of went away from the Ned rig for a bit, and I went with BFS style freaking Texas rig. So I'm throwing like a little tiny 16 ounce weight, and then a little what are those X Zone freaking craws? They're like a little 2.5
ones,
tiny or whatever. Yeah,
dude, they freaking absolutely destroy that. Oh, and then the other one is that the Megabass Karashi. Like, that thing. It's only this big, but man, those freaking fish absolutely light that up.
Yeah, good luck buying those.
Hey, I got one, so I'm good.
But you better order it now and wait till next year to get it because
I mean,
those things are
every lunker that in the last 2 years, every lunker that Nick or I have won has been caught on a Ned.
Yeah,
every single one except. Nick tied once on a frog. That was the first year.
I will say frogs, to contradict myself, frogs tend to produce bigger fish.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends where you are.
will get some small ones for
right.
sure. Little ones will eat it, but you will get
more. You have a chance for a frog. Fish. Yeah.
Yep.
But I mean, every other one has been on a Ned.
Chris, now when you're throwing your Ned, Chris, I say, what trailer are you using on Ned?
Yeah.
Oh, I got like 4, 5.
Is it more? So
I run a little paddle tail one that I like.
Okay.
And I use that. I've been doing that for years. I use that like what they call hovering or strolling.
Yep.
And then I run a bug.
Okay.
And the little bugs, and that's on a little bit of a different style Ned hook. I don't run that on a standard Ned hook anymore. I used to. And then I throw the tickler is my straight. If I'm going just straight Ned, I always throw the tickler. Mm-hmm. I always like my lures to have 2 tones, a bottom, a belly, and a back. And I like something else, and that's why I like the tickler better. I just don't like the straight.
How come you don't go with a TRD craw?
I don't like the way the action is on the craw. I'll throw the bug instead.
Really?
I like the action on the turd bugs rather than the craw.
Huh. Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, I have ridiculous success with the turd craw up here, especially on the smallmouth. They absolutely love that thing.
Yeah, and I just have more confidence in the bugs. But to me, I always my flipping baits were always the sweet beaver type
Mm.
bait, and that's
Yep.
where the bug
Yeah,
caught
so
me.
you're getting that.
That's
kind
why I
of
stick with it. The other one that I liked it, and I don't buy them as much because they don't last as long, but the Strike King Rage, the baby Rage,
Yep, the
that
little
thing,
one.
the baby Rage craw thing, or
Yeah.
whatever they call
Yep.
that, that thing has wicked good action, and that one they will destroy that. You go through a lot of them in a day, though.
I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Speaking
they're
of
sharp.
rage, I just picked up a whole bunch of punch bug or the rage punch bugs.
Yeah,
Oh my god, I can't even wait to start using those.
I know. I just say the only problem for me is I just go through so many, especially on a
Yep.
smallmouth. They just destroy them.
Smallmouth shred everything.
They do.
Smallmouth.
That's why the Z-Man stuff. I just find that
Well,
I like.
smallmouth pile drive everything they eat.
Yeah.
They
kill
don't.
it.
They don't
They
slurp
kill
it.
it. Right.
They don't
get-
slurp it. They
Yeah,
eat
they
it on
gotta
the
murder
run
it
and they just
first.
run through it.
Yeah,
Yep.
you don't find a smallmouth spitting out a bait that's still alive. Where a
No.
largemouth, you'll pull out a 6-inch perch and the sucker's still alive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. No, they smallmouth. I honestly think some of the time they had no intention on eating that thing.
No, they're just angry.
They're just killing it. They're just like, I don't want you in my face, and they just kill it and run
Right.
away. Like they're just aggressive. That's something I got. The Ned is something I throw. I used to throw a lot of Hellgrammites on the Ned
Yep.
because
That-
those have
That's a
like,
nice
good
little trick,
action.
too.
They're
They're getting hard to find though. It's weird. A lot of companies had them, and then everybody went away from them.
I have a mold.
Oh, there you go.
So I could cheat on that one. I have a freaking
Yeah.
I have a I can't remember what it's a do-it mold, but it's a Hellgrammite mold.
Yeah.
So it's nice for
That
you know,
was
I
that was
The
really
Ned-
good up on Carmine in the spring.
The Ned I want to use is that little Ned salamander. I think it's Savage Gear.
Yeah, I think
Dude,
you're right.
Dude,
man.
that
Use
thing
one of those.
that thing is weird. Like I like it. I have some.
I haven't tried that one, Michael.
That one floats. The Savage Gear one.
Yeah.
That salamander thing.
I'll
Like,
bet that little freaking tail just sits there and wiggles. real
dude, it
good.
is. It's pretty solid, and that's one actually I have that I did actually I fished that at Maury,
Mm.
but I didn't have that one's one you do have to like rig properly though because
Yeah.
it's almost more Elastec than the Elastec.
Mm.
Like
Oh, wow.
it will not like you have to like force that thing. Like it stretches like crazy, but
Oh, man.
it is cool. I like it a lot. I actually bought them, Chris, for Chitrez
Did you?
because
Yeah,
they have all those
they work
fucking little salamanders. There's a lot of those little bastards.
Yeah, they're floating everywhere in that place.
Like I've caught fish that have spit those out. Like I've caught
Mhm.
fish that were eating those. And when I did that, I ended up looking up salamander baits for the tournament, thinking, "Oh, this will kill." I didn't catch anything on it, but
Right.
the idea was there. But
Yeah.
that's definitely one of the ones that I'm gonna invest some time in, especially because I have the Hellgrammite. Because there's a company out of Mass, Fresh Baits, that makes a Hellgrammite. You
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
know those guys from
I do, yeah.
trade shows. They have one, and they actually have the best smelling baits in the market. Believe it or not, because they have a grape scent that they put on their plastic.
I
It's
haven't
a-
tried that one.
It's the weirdest scent ever, but their plastics have like a grape scent to
Yeah.
cover up the plastisol. It was,
Dude, you know what scent I like, and this is really gonna sound weird, but that Bang crawfish / shad mixture. It's so weird. It's like tangy and shit.
I like the Frito scent of the fucking Bellows Gill too.
Yeah, I like that too. It's like, do I want to eat this?
It,
Like,
it does
okay.
smell. It smells good. Like you're like, this, and I don't know why I think that, but it does. It smells like it's enticing.
I'll
when
tell you
it
what, I
smells.
went through a pack of those in a day. I actually pretty much went through a pack of those in like an hour and a half.
Those have a weirdness to them in the sense of they are durable, but they're not.
They're durable until they get freaking beat by like 20 of them.
Yeah, when they get hit by a fish, they're durable at the cast. Like they'll stay on the hook where they're
Yep.
supposed to until they get hit.
Yep.
But once they rip through that front part, you can't really. There's not a good way to keep using it. Like with a Senko,
Yeah.
you can kind of bite it down and then use it for a little bit longer. With those, it kind of screws the action up because it's just into that rib section after.
Well,
that.
it's the same thing with that Hero Taylor that I got. I mean, those baits are great, but man, you freaking once the hook goes through the nose, you can cut it down, but it's like you said, the action isn't quite
It's
the
just
same.
not the
Right.
same, yeah.
Yeah.
And those bellows gills are heavy.
Yeah.
They're wicked heavy. Like you almost don't when you're flipping those, you almost don't need a weight with them.
Yeah.
They sink pretty fast.
They have well, they don't sink. I guess yes, they do sink fast, but because of the ribs, they more glide down.
Yep.
They basically pendulum even when you don't have a tight line.
Gotcha.
Because they're flat bottom and the ribs, the way they catch the water, instead of like falling down, they just basically go down like an airplane.
They almost look like a bluegill that's kind of like doing
Yeah.
that death spiral down in it.
I wonder if that's why people Nico rig them, so it'll swim away from you.
That might be. That they actually make, and I want to try it this year. I'm going to buy some. The G Crack makes a wacky rig thing that they designed for the bellow scale, and it's like this thing you poke through the bait, and it's got a loop on it to.
It's a little T looking thing.
It's a little T looking thing.
Yeah.
And what it does is it's a T on one side, and then it's got a loop where you put your hook through, and then you break it off. And what it does is it acts kind of like a wacky rig ring, but it's a lot more solid because it's going through the whole bait and it doesn't rip through as bad. Alex Rudd uses them on like max scent worms because that's the one thing I love, max scent worms. But dude, one bluegill can rip them in half. Like if you're hooking straight through the bait, you're going through them quick.
Right.
But they said what they do is the way you're supposed to rig those gills is Nico rig them. Basically, you're supposed to put the weight in the center of it, put that thing through it, put a Nico weight in the front of it, and then essentially, like you said, it kind of you almost could hover stroll it because at that point it's tipped down, but it's hooked in the center, so it kind of suspends.
Yeah.
And that's I've had most of my success with those, like basically flipping them. And they skip like a dream.
I was going to say, you skipped that under a dock then.
They skip under a dock. Matter of fact, the first fish I ever caught on one of those was at Elmore. Under a dock.
Yeah.
And they skip like those flux gills skip even better than the freaking bellow gills do. And they have a similar action, but not quite the same.
I've only been to Elmore once, and I've kind of already fallen in love with that place, just the way that it's set up. Yeah, I actually like it.
I love-hate that place. It's a long drive for me to not. I don't know. You know what's actually good? It's a good ice fishing lake.
I'm sure it is.
You can catch a shit ton of perch. Now, granted, they're this big, but you can catch them all. Like, I actually got annoyed fishing there because you'll set up a hole. If you get on a perch, you can sit there and pull them through the hole every freaking cast. They're this big, but again, I mean,
yeah, I pulled a good size. I pulled a 20 1/4, almost 6 pounder out of there, and then it was like an 18 3/4 that was almost 5. Like
that's where my PB smallmouth came from.
And then smallmouth, I didn't get anything above 16, but I did get a lot of them.
I got the big bass and my PB smallmouth in a tournament there.
Nice.
In fucking 4 feet of water and submerging grass with a
square bill.
On a fucking square bill. Like,
dude, when they go through
you were
there,
up in that north part, weren't you?
No, I was actually down by the beach.
Oh,
that corner on the northeast side or
south.
Yeah.
Yeah, down by the campground. I was actually just a little bit north of like the swim buoys where they block you off from being able to go into the beach area.
Yep.
Yeah. I was only there because bear fishing wanted to fish the fucking tree down there, and I ended up just casting a square bill because I was like, okay, well, screw it. I'm gonna cast over here, wait for you to come out of here, and that thing jumped like 3-4 times, and I think that was like a 20 1/4, 20 1/2 or something. Like it was just over 20, but
that's a good one.
It was crazy. That was actually one of the first like good smallmouth I caught on a FX, like on my cranking rod.
Mm.
And it was like beneficial to have a cranking rod because I probably wouldn't have caught it without that
Yeah,
extra.
there, especially in that
The
grass.
moderate action of that rod saved my ass
Mhm.
big time. So, yeah, we're going on hour 19. One thing I do want to suggest to new anglers who are watching this that maybe wanted to get some tips, there is options, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to start this by saying I am pro staff for Dark Horse, but there is subscription boxes that are worth it, and there's subscription boxes that are not worth it. And I don't necessarily want to disparage any particular company, but Lucky Tackle Box, don't fucking buy a Lucky Tackle Box. Just don't do it because they used to be good. Now it's 17 of their baits that are like not really all that great. But there is some benefit if you're starting out getting one of those subscription boxes to get yourself familiar with new baits, because you'll get baits that one you may not thought to buy and all of that. But also take it into consideration that when you do get a subscription box like that, that some of those baits may not work for your area, because they're making a lot of those boxes. You got to look at where your company that's doing it is from, because some of those are national companies and they're going to give you this. The spawn in Texas happens a hell of a lot earlier than it does in Maine.
Yep. And you got a lot of different baits that can work in Texas that are not going to work up here.
Yeah. So you got to take into account that. And that's actually good advice too when you're watching YouTube. When you guys are watching YouTube this spring and they're talking about right now, you need to be fishing this bait. Look where that YouTuber's from.
Right. We're a
Because
month or two behind most.
if he's down in Florida and he's talking about you should be flipping grass, we still have fucking ice up here. You know, a lot of those guys, you know, some of these tournament trails down south, down in Georgia, start in February.
Oh yeah,
we're still doing ice fishing derbies up here, like,
right.
So you got to take into account when you watch the stuff that, you know, the regional stuff. You got to pay attention to. Try to find someone that's from the region you're in, because it's going to help you a lot more when they're talking about baits. If you're watching a guy from California fishing the Delta, those baits aren't really going to apply to Maine. Yep. Sorry, but it's not the same type of fisheries. So
another thing that's good for like the beginners to go to the trade shows. I mean,
yeah,
I go to the trade show with a purpose because I'm there selling rods. But the one thing that I hate about the trade shows is I don't get a day to just walk around and hang out at the trade show. You can learn so much stuff at those trade shows if you have the time. You don't go there with, I mean, always bring the youth, but you have to have the patient youth, because if you're going there to learn, you got to have the time. And I mean, plan on 6 to 8 hours if you got it, because you can go and everybody there wants to talk.
That's why they're there.
So wants to talk.
There's a reason why those are when they are.
Absolutely. I mean, I've taught people how to use a bait caster. The New Hampshire one is perfect. I go out behind the curtain and I go out and I've taught 3 or 4 different people how to use a bait caster there.
Yep.
You know, I teach them how the basics of it, why and how, and then I get them just roll casting, underhand roll casting to feel it, and then by the end of it, they can cast it across that floor.
Yep.
And that's where you can learn, and you can pick the ear of like-minded people, and you can, if you want to learn about swim baits, go to the first one and down in Massachusetts if you're in the New England area, because that one is all swim baits. You know, not all, but a ton of it.
Heavy swim bait, yeah.
Yeah. If you want to go learn about, you know, rods, go talk to different rod. I sell the rods, but I've always told everybody when they haven't used one of our rods, walk around, find one lighter, find one that's more durable, find one you like better, bring it back to me. You know, the same thing when it comes to the baits. You're learning, you know, Pete, who we had on a couple weeks ago, Pete paints his own baits. There's other A-Bay paints his own baits. I've met both of them. There's reasons they do what they do, you know.
Yep.
That's how a beginner can learn, you know.
Oh, big time. I definitely am a big, like, that's why so I'm going to a trade show with Dark Horse in Ohio in January. I paid money to go there.
Right.
Like, I'm paying to stay in an Airbnb. I'm basically paying my own way to be there. Now, I'm there to help support Dark Horse, but I'm also there because the networking of talking to people. And it's not about, for me, it's learning too. Like, I like talking to bait makers and companies because they'll explain to you why they designed their bait and where their intentions to fish it were. And then you start getting in that conversation. And one of the best ways, honestly, one of the best ways to learn how to fish, like you said, is to talk to fishermen. And trade shows, like Chris is saying, the biggest point is those trade shows are strategically at a time when ice fishing's starting to wind down and anglers are getting anxious. And it's classic marketing. They know the guys are chomping at the bit, get out in the water. So I might as well go to this trade show and see what kind of baits I can buy. And the thing about that is most of the vendors that are there, having worked a few of these in my lifetime too, I'm there to talk fishing. Yeah, I want to like support the company that I'm working for and sell rods or sell baits, but I'm also there to like, oh, how do you fish? Have you tried this bait? Do you use this rod to use this bait? But it's like at the end of the day, you're just there to talk fishing for 6 hours.
Exactly.
That's what you're there for. That's the enjoyment of being in those booths is talking fishing with, because you pick shit up. You learn shit from people. Like, guys will tell you like, oh yeah, well we've been doing this on this bait with this pattern at this lake. And we need a rod for it. And you're like, oh really? I never would have thought of doing that.
Right.
So, but yeah, no, definitely. I think that's one of the biggest things I think is people don't realize is like half of the shit that we say on these YouTube videos we're making up. I'll be honest. Like, I don't necessarily know for a fact that a green pumpkin worm is going to work everywhere because I haven't fished everywhere. But I know people from multiple states that catch fish on that color. I know techniques that I've learned from YouTube that I've then used. But I'm also the idiot that puts a fucking tube on a chatterbait. And it catches fish. Cool. Is it going to work ever again? I don't know. But you have to be willing to experiment. And the other thing, I think the biggest point I want to drive home to new anglers is that there is no mastering fishing. It's not something, it's not a sport that there's a learning curve for life.
Mm-hmm.
There's never you can't be the best angler because the fish adapt, the environment changes. Baits that worked last year for me didn't work this year for me. I had a couple of baits that, matter of fact, I bought a mold for the ring fry worm, which is the rattlesnake worm for grande bass specifically.
Yep.
Those didn't work that great for me this year. Last year, I could go out every single day and catch a fish on those. There's baits that come, there's baits that go. There's baits that come into style, like spinner baits for me came into style this year, and chatterbaits stopped working around June for me. I struggled after June to catch a fish on a chatterbait. But then all of a sudden I started catching fish on a spinnerbait. So like you have to understand that becoming well-rounded and learning, and I say this in my videos a lot. I'm sure people are probably actually sick of listening to it, but like learn when you're on the water. If you're not catching fish, fuck around with that bellows gill or that crankbait that you bought. Take that bait that you've never thrown and just throw it to see how it looks in the water, to see how you like it. Because a lot of it is really how you like it. I'll be honest. Like Chris and me and Jesse could stand on a dock with a guaranteed amount of fish, cast the same rod, and have different results.
Right.
Because I work a bait differently than Chris does, than Jesse does. In this conversation alone, we've talked about how Jesse fishes specific swim baits. He doesn't fish basically any finesse baits except for certain what. Like Chris fishes a Ned. I don't ever fish a Ned. Like we all fish the same. We literally have all fished the same lakes this year and had very success. So you have to learn what works for you and then dial that in, find your core set of baits, build on that, and then once you've done that, then venture out into your glide baits and your fancy baits.
One other thing that I will say, I know a color that's going to work anywhere, anytime, doesn't matter what the water quality is, and that's black and some form of black and blue.
Black in general. Yep.
Yep.
I agree. My most successful bait last year was a black max scent worm.
Yep.
Not black blue, not black. And I will tell you, I'm going to be going out this weekend. I have a bait mold. I'm going to be pouring a lot of plastics and stuff like that because I'm trying to save money next year because I'm fixing my damn boat. I'm going to be pouring a black worm. I'm going to be pouring a black with blue tip worm because for some reason they like that. Basically the blue of Chris's chair, and a black with chartreuse tail. But it's at the end of the day, it's a fucking black worm.
Yep.
The same, actually, that applies to a lot of like swim baits too.
Yeah.
You can throw like a black blue swim bait too.
Black and blue is good. Black chartreuse, black and freaking red, like red sparkle or something.
Yeah.
Red flake.
Yeah, red glitter.
Yep.
But yeah, black. I will say, and that's a concept. That's a more high level thing than people realize. But all that is it's a contrast.
Yep.
It's because it doesn't look like anything. It doesn't look like any particular bait, but
It doesn't
looks
look like
something that's
anything.
alive.
But it also looks like everything, or it
It
can
looks
look.
like, it's literally just it's a contour of something that looks like it's alive in the water, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna eat that because it looks like it's alive. You're
I have
not
caught
scaring them
so
away with the color.
So much black and blue on chatterbaits, freaking worms. My flipping baits when I was down in Gunnersville, it was a D bomb, but it was like green pumpkin one side, or I think it was bruiser, and it was green pumpkin one side and then black blue flake on the other.
That is a sneaky combination of colors.
Mm-hmm.
That green pumpkin and black blue. There's a lot of baits.
Yep.
That have started doing more of that pattern, and that is a sneaky.
Dude, it is sick because you think about it. You flip it over on one side and it's the green pumpkin, so it looks like a bluegill. Yep. But then you flip it over on the black and blue flake side, and then it looks like anything.
And the other thing to kind of throw another high level tip out there before we end this is, don't be afraid to mix and match too. If you're throwing a green pumpkin jig, you can throw a black trailer, or vice versa. Sometimes I find that the contrast, having a different colored trailer than your main color, actually is more effective than matching like black blue with black blue. A lot of times with like a green pumpkin trailer, I'll throw a black, like I throw like a chigger craw a lot of times on my jig. I'll throw a black chigger craw on a green pumpkin jig because what in nature is one color.
Yeah. Yeah, my cousin, one of the things when he showed me about jigs, he took a ball head jig, a black ball head jig, and put a smoke freaking colored trailer on it.
Yep.
And it was like a perfect match, even though it was completely different.
Right.
I will go extreme sometimes, and I'll even do like, I'm going to be pouring some craws this year because I have some craw molds. And I do like orange tipped the claws with like an orange tip. So like it'll be all black craw, but it's going to be an orange, like something a little bit because it looks different.
Attention.
Yep.
And honestly, especially with like a jig or anything where the hook is where it is, if you draw, because I'm actually thinking about, tell me what you guys think about this concept because it might be stupid, but I thought about this. On a wacky, because I throw a lot of wacky rigs, I'm thinking about making the part where you put the hook a different color.
Here's
so
what
like
you can
making the egg sac specifically.
Yes. So here's what you can do
color.
With this. So watching Tactical Bassin, what they would do is they would take their jig and they would put like a little, like the chartreuse pepper Senko, and just cut like an inch of that Senko and then slide that on ahead of the trailer. So it just gave that little bit of chartreuse in there that the fish would be able to pick up on. It wasn't much, but it was just enough. So if you were to do something like if you did a all black worm and then did the egg sac with like a chartreuse pepper or something,
that's what I'm thinking is like, you know how like you do like normal two-tone worms that are like just two color, like not laminated.
Yeah.
tail is like blue or chartreuse or whatever.
Yep.
Instead of doing
Mhm.
that, I'm thinking about doing some where the egg sac is that blue
Yep.
because it draws them to the hook. Is my
Yep.
thought. Like that's going to draw them to the hook instead of the tail or the side.
Yep.
It may not work, but it's something that I can do because I've done this before. Is what you do when you pour that is you cut it. So you basically pour the whole color, you cut it, and then you pour in that other color, you cut it again, and then you pour in the other color, and then it molds all together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I've made laminates like that too. Like I've actually, instead of using a laminate plate, I just cut the worm down the middle and then just put one worm. I split it in half and put it in two of the slots, two more slots, and then I pour another color. So I can kind of really, it allows me to like really dial it in. Like sometimes I can make like half of it thinner. Like I can make it almost like not 50-50, like 3/4 quarter of a color. So it's just a little bit of a different. I do that with black, blue, and Junebug because nobody makes that combination of colors. And that one works pretty good too.
Yeah, it's like what Michael was saying in the comments. Why don't they got a black, blue in this, which is a similar bait, but they don't in this. It's so weird.
Yeah, it's weird because, well, I know why. It's kind of like what Pete said last week or last episode is it's not sexy.
Right.
The problem is it's not a color that you see bubblegum pink from across the store.
Right.
Even like a bluegill color. Let's be honest. If you see like for us, if you see a bait that has a little bit of a perch look to it,
yeah,
you go, oh, I don't really need another swim bait, but this one kind of looks like a perch. It kind of looks like a perch, and that's what they're eating, so I should buy it, right? But the problem is at half the time, it doesn't matter. Because I honestly think there is some days where it doesn't. Like I can tell you during the spawn, it doesn't fucking matter what color you throw.
No, that's why red. That's why red ends up being so good.
That's why I end up throwing a lot
orange.
of the shitty baits that I'm trying to get rid of in the spawn. Like the baits that I bought that I didn't like the color of, those are the ones I throw in the spawn because they're just trying to kill everything that's anywhere near them. If they're in their nest, they want to make sure they don't want anything there. They want to kill anything that's near it. And during the spawn, they're just so ravenous from being dormant all winter that they're gonna eat anything that moves.
Yeah.
So they don't give a shit what color it is. I think the biggest thing is in the summertime is like differentiating yourself, because if everybody was throwing a fucking green pumpkin and you're throwing a bubblegum pink, they haven't seen bubblegum pink yet, so they're just more or less like not associating that with danger. But so all right, guys, we are gonna call it right here, and we are gonna end the show with a question. I want you guys, ideally someone, to come up with a topic for next week and comment it in the video. So if you guys are watching this, put it down there. You get to pick next week's topic. And if you pick a topic that we end up using, I will actually put together a bait pack from this wall of stuff that I'm probably never going to fish anyways and mail it to you.
You
So
won't do it.
if you guys pick a topic, put it down in the comments. We will pick a topic. And if we pick your topic, we will reach out to you and I'll send you guys some stuff from my overstock of baits. So
yeah,
this will be fun.
And it will be we may end up doing this with a dark horse box at some point too, but for now it's just going to be stuff that I have. But yeah, so we'll be back next Wednesday. We're pretty much going to be back. I will say we're probably not going to be next 2 weeks. We'll probably be around, and then after that we'll probably shut down for the holidays because Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve is the next 2 Wednesdays after that, and I'm not really gonna do a New Year's Eve or Christmas Eve live. It just no one really ends up being around, and all I'm doing is pissing off a bunch of wives while their husbands are sneaking to look at their phone to watch a podcast. So so we're gonna do the 10th and 17th, and then we'll shut things down until January, and hopefully by then maybe I'll have some ice fishing content, but I doubt it. It's supposed to be below freezing all week, so maybe.
I'm telling you, my son's nervous. I'm nervous about duck hunting. So
yeah, the lakes are probably starting to
up here. The small bays are already starting to ice up.
So maybe I'll have ice fishing content.
Even on the big lake, they're freezing up.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna try to do one of these from the lake, like
right,
ice fishing live.
There you go.
But we'll see. But yeah, guys, we're gonna end it right here. We will see you guys next week. And again, put a topic down there. You guys could win a bait pack if we pick your topics. So, because I'm really running out of ideas, and it's something that I want you guys to be able to pick because it's something that probably will be interesting to you.